All right, welcome back to Long-Term Reviews. Today we are going to review the Core gun belt. It is a ratcheting reinforced belt that's intended to help secure a gun while you're carrying it concealed. So in this review, I'm going to give you my thoughts on the belt as a whole. I'm going to talk about some of the pluses and the features of the belt. Then we're going to talk about some of the negatives, some of the downsides, some of the things I'd like to see done differently by Core. And then finally, we're going to talk about how the belt has held up over time. I've had this belt for about 6 months now and have worn it just about every day. I've worn it with a gun, without, and we're going to talk about how it's held up over time. So first, let's talk about the features. Now, Core makes ratcheting belts. So these are those belts that instead of having holes on the front, they have a ratcheting system. Let me zoom in here for that. Yeah, they've got this ratcheting system that closes the belt and holds it closed and gives you a little bit more degrees of adjustment. Now, the way that this works is that you thread the belt through the buckle, and then the buckle has a ratcheting device that we can see right here. See if I can get the light there. Yep, this little hook catches on the plastic strip of ratchets in the belt, and as the belt is cinched closed, it causes the hook to move. This system does seem to work well. It seems to hold the belt very securely. I've never really worried about the belt coming loose, with a possible exception, and we'll talk about that in my complaints. This does, though, allow you to get the belt adjusted precisely right, which is particularly nice if you're carrying a gun inside the waistband and you want to make sure that the belt is tight enough to hold the gun securely against you, but it's not so tight that it's really digging into you or digging the gun into you in an uncomfortable way. The other feature to this belt is that it has been reinforced with a polymer or plastic insert inside. And so if we take the buckle off the belt, what we will see is that inside of the belt, up here at the top, just underneath the surface, there's a black plastic. Now, it's pretty thin, but it does do quite a good job of making this belt stiffer. So if I try to coil this belt around my hand, it just doesn't coil, super tight the way that I would expect a normal belt to. It's pretty rigid, actually, and pretty stiff. This has helped the belt to wear better, in my mind, and it also helps to support the weight of a gun, particularly if you're carrying it outside of the waistband. And I've carried outside the waistband with this belt, and it's really comfortable. It feels really secure when you do that because the belt doesn't twist very well. And so the gun is held kind of in a more vertical position more easily without having to cinch the belt quite as tight. The belt does come in sort of a one-size-fits-all pattern that you cut to fit yourself. Now, the mistake that a lot of people will make here is that they'll cut the belt without reading the directions, and they'll cut it to their actual pant size. And that means then that their belt is too short. I've left a little extra length on the belt so that if I ever wanted to carry a double stack inside the waistband or something like that, I'd have plenty of belt to do that. The ratcheting mechanism actually is about a foot long. And so once you've cut the belt to length, there's about a foot of adjustment variation. So in my mind, that means that this belt would fit a person over a significant period of time, even if they lost some weight, gained some weight, or changed the pistol that they are carrying. There's just a lot of degrees of adjustment there to be had. Moving into some of the things that I wish were different about the belt. The first thing to notice is that the reinforcement for the belt stops right here. And that's, quite a ways away from the end. What that means is that this reinforced part of the belt is very stiff. It doesn't twist very easily. But out here, where it actually connects to the buckle, is a lot more flexible. Now, what that means is that the belt will flex right near the buckle. And so if you have the belt run through the buckle, and you have a gun sitting over here at about 3 o'clock, well, it is able to torque the belt right there, over this length between where the buckle is and where the reinforcement actually starts. So I do wish that the belt was reinforced throughout the whole length. I'm sure that the reason that Cord didn't do that probably has to do with this ratchet. Well, no, because the ratchet actually overlaps with the reinforcement. I don't know. I do wish, though, that it was reinforced throughout the length. That would be give the belt a little bit more rigidity, make it a little stiffer overall. The other complaint that I have is that the way that the buckle closes onto the belt is, in my mind, not ideal. So to put the buckle onto the belt, you just insert the belt into the buckle and then lever this closed. Now there are teeth here that will dig into the belt's material and keep the belt from pulling out of the buckle. Now the problem that I have is that as you close this lever, it digs into the belt but pushes the belt back out of the buckle. So I wish that the buckle closed in the opposite direction and pulled the belt's material into the buckle rather than pushing it out of the buckle. But you can't always get what you want. I do wish, though, that was different. The last kind of complaint or quibble that I have with the belt is the belt's release mechanism. The way the belt releases is that there is this tab underneath the buckle that you push out away from your body. And when you do that, if we can zoom in here, when you do that, it disengages the metal ratchet part of the buckle from the plastic track, and it allows you to just open the belt up. The problem that I have with this is that sometimes if you have the belt cinched up pretty tight and then you are seated, as you sit, you can actually push the tab out a little bit away from the away from you and open the ratcheting mechanism up just a little bit. Now, this has never really caused me a problem. I've never had my belt come undone as I sit down, and ordinarily all that it does is it might just push out away from you if you've got the belt pretty tight, open up a little bit, and then as it's opened, it's not as tight against you anymore, so you're not pushing on the ratchet and it'll close. So your belt might just adjust a little bit as you sit down. Again, I haven't had a problem with it. I just wish that wasn't that was more secure, that they had had a different mechanism for closing the ratchet or releasing the ratchet, and I feel like that would have been better. So that's all the bad things I have to say about the belt. Let's look at the wear of the belt overall. Now, I'm kind of hard on belts, and I've worn this belt almost every day. And overall, I have to say that it has held up better than just about any belt that I've had before, with the possible exception of some really thick, Western-style belts. But this belt, for a casual or dress belt, has worked out remarkably well. The two things that have worn on it are this front surface here, where the track is actually able to be seen through the outer layer of leather. I'm not super crazy about that, but it's also not terrifically noticeable, and I don't think that it detracts much from the appearance of the belt. It is just a thing that I've noticed has happened as the belt has worn. The only other real instance of wear on the belt is here at the very back of the belt. Now, I tend to be very hard on belts at the back. I wear a lot of Levi jeans that really only have one single belt loop in the back, and so if I kneel down or squat or anything like that, it tends to put a lot of pressure on my belts at the back. And most of my belts, after a little bit of wear, have sort of a scooped out, scalloped appearance in the back part of the belt. Um, I've been really impressed with how this belt has held up over time, that it hasn't worn down in the back much. There's a little bit of a depression right here, if we can see that, but it is not bad at all. There is a little bit of wear on the binding back there as well, but it is totally acceptable in my mind considering how most of my belts hold up. If we flip the belt over, there is some wear on the binding of the belt on the underneath side. And I say it's wear. It's possible that it came this way and I just didn't notice it. I'm not really sure what the deal is here. I don't know why it's worn there or what's going on. But there's also some right here, right after the buckle. Is that a big deal to me? I mean, the belt's held together relatively well. I do wish, though, that this was a little bit higher quality, or that it had worn better. So, overall, though, the belt has held up well. If we look at the surface of the belt, there's not really any scuffs or scratches or anything like that, which is a little bit surprising to me. Because I have worn this belt, every day, and haven't really treated it with kid gloves or anything. One of the nice things about the belt is how well it just goes with whatever it is that you're wearing. I can wear this belt with jeans and a t-shirt. I can wear this belt with a dress shirt and slacks, and even a jacket. It just kind of blends in with whatever it is that I'm wearing. And I've had people before that look at it and they're like, hey, is that one of those belts without holes? Is that one of those ratcheting belts? And I'm like, yeah. But a lot of people don't look at this belt and think, gun, right? It is a little bit wider than a lot of belts, but it doesn't really have a tactical appearance at all. And I wear it in, all sorts of environments without anybody looking at it in a strange way. I do wear this belt even when I'm somewhere where I can't carry a firearm, because it does just such a great job of holding my pants up, and that's the belt's main purpose. So even on days where I've gone somewhere, I've known that I'm going to spend most of my time in a place where I can't carry a firearm, I've worn this belt, and it has held up pretty well, even in work environments. So I've really enjoyed this belt. Now the question in my mind to ask at this point is, would I buy it again? And the answer is yes. It does the job belts are supposed to do. The first job, which is it holds my pants up well. It's exhibited very little wear over time, especially compared to other belts that I've had in the past. Its reinforcement makes it ideal for holding a gun, and the ratcheting system makes it ideal for adjusting the belt for either changes in weight or for changes in, weaponry. So whether you're carrying a pistol or not, this belt will fit. Overall, I think it's been a good buy, and I've been pleased with it. There are some downsides to it, and I've noted those, but I haven't really seen a product that doesn't have those downsides and has all the features that this belt does. So that does it for my review of the Core gun belt. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave those in the section below. If you've liked this review and you want to see more reviews like this in the future, feel free to like the video or subscribe to my channel. I do have other reviews in the process, other things that I'm looking at reviewing. So feel free to subscribe and to like the video. Thanks for watching.